Queensbridge rapper Kora, who has known Nas since he was a little child, is now speaking out after becoming embroiled in the feud between Nas and Jim Jones. Jim is entitled to feel proud, Cormega stated. Nas has the right to be proud. Although, he acknowledged that some of Jones's comments were motivated by ego and provocation, he finally gave Nas credit for being silent, saying that Nas's response was the best. He remained silent. Nas remained silent, but once Jones intensified his interviews, the argument heated up. A leaked 2005 video of Nas mocking Jones and dismissing him as undeserving of a lyrical response only served to intensify the situation. When it comes to lyricism, Nas is the best. I've witnessed how words and/or comments can be taken out of context and cause chaos, he stated. Therefore, I have a duty to develop and mentor rather than watch others fail because I am a man. Man with self-awareness and street credibility. It's obvious that I would much prefer to see you having a good time. Jim Jones has a distinct sense of style. Nas's sense of style. Jim Jones is one of the most improved rappers in NY rap, especially considering he wasn't even rapping when I met him many years ago, he said, acknowledging Jones's development throughout the years. Both men have succeeded in different ways. Kora, who reportedly had a falling out with Nas after Nature replaced him in the company, nodded to hip-hop unity. As he wrapped up his remarks, Jim Jones is criticizing Nas once more. This time, he's accusing Nas of being responsible for one of his most well-known viral moments. He has maintained that his library has outlasted Nas since his renowned debut, Illmatic, and that he doesn't even enjoy his own work. When he spoke on the Bag Fuel podcast on Wednesday, he brought up the Queensbridge rapper once more. Jones first brought up his beef with Nas during an appearance on a recent Joe and Jada podcast. Jones claimed that Nas' music is crazy and that he doesn't appreciate him during the exchange. Additionally, he criticized Nas' recent appearance at Rolling Loud Miami, where he felt it was appropriate to invite 25-year-old Akon to do a surprise guest verse. Jones began by stating that he has never had the same degree of fame since he initially introduced Nas.
Probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life. Last time he was in some shit like this where people were comparing when him and Jay was, and I don't want to talk about other people's career, but let's just get to the semantics of it.
He done that, but he hasn't discussed the matter with Nas yet. Social media followers are becoming weary of Jones' antics. We're not afraid of in a 2005 video that has since surfaced. Nas snubbed Jim Jones. That day the Queensbridge icon was in his luggage and information flows out of it, just as their renewed enmity has been rekindled online. Nas was narrating a tale to an audience in the old video when he said,
Jim Jones, a badger put a pen to paper to write about him. I'm not anxious to hear that Jim Jones diss right now. Like, yo. The niggas that used to have a nigga a little nervous was like B.I.G., Pop. Right. Even Cannabis, like Eminem. The niggas used to have you like, we go at it, dog. We gotta go hard. I respect his hustle. Right. I respect his hustle.
The video resurfaced a few days after Jim Jones stated on the Joe and Jada show that he had more hits than Nas and is more relevant to younger listeners. In it, Nas explained that Jim Jones never made his peers as anxious as rappers like Biggie, Tupac, Cannabis, and Eminem did. When you claim to be better than Nas, what do you think you were smoking? When Jim Jones recently joined Chad Ochocinco Johnson and Shannon Sharp on the Nightcap podcast, they couldn't help but ask him about Nas. Capo had earlier positioned himself as a bigger rapper than Esco during an interview on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's show, which surely generated a lot of shock talk. However, he really went all out during this Nightcap performance. The Dips member explained in great detail why he thinks he has more sway.
care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started. Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
ain't no shame in that. There a lot of mofos came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit, and we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that.
He also alluded to something that happened between him and the Queen's legend.
You dig? And I'm not trying to repeat history, but don't play with us when it comes to that, bro. We already when
Jones asserted that although Sharp suggested Esco was the better lyricist, Capo intensified the effect of style. The three guys continued to argue over competing mentalities after that. Sharp actually mentioned Dipset's Versus with the Locks and Sonic Jones should be concerned about exacting retribution on Kiss.
Laps around Nas rapping right now, bro. Right now, 2025, I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap circles around. Smoke. That's right. I'm not mad. It's about the sportsmanship of the game. People know I'm a very aggressive person, and I seem to get misconstrued when I'm talking my shit. I'm just talking my shit, you heard? Let me talk my shit because I am on the field. If anybody got a problem with that, they can meet me on the field. That is the proof. Anybody from that era.
In a recent conversation with Joe and Jadakiss on their podcast, Jim Jones stated unequivocally that he has no intention of resolving his feud with Styles P or Camron.
Say, not gonna talk about my brother Styles, and we're not gonna talk about Cam. One, I don't condone that shit, and two, there's a lot more other beautiful shit going on in the world than to rile up some shit.
Jada reacted when Jones interrupted to clarify that Styles is his brother.
Oh, bro, me and Styles are actually brothers. Two brothers that love each other.
You don't gotta explain.
I be wanting people to know that, like.
We don't have to get into that because we already know what it is, and they're gonna see soon enough.
The PSA was released a few weeks after Jones accepted Styles P's challenge to a Versus combat. Styles subsequently declared that he had the highest regard for Jones and his body of work in spite of the conflict. But because of his association with the Lukes, he believes that he is a superior rapper and that his abilities are sometimes disregarded. Jada, just a few months after Jones addressed his long-running conflict with Camron, saying that Cam was never his friend and that he only assisted him because he was signed to his label, Kiss released his PSA.